Hey everybody, how you doing? And as the title, it's fry bread time. That's right, I'm doing something that I've not done in a good long while. A lot of people may not know this, but I like to cook once in a while or do something kind of close to that. Well, anyhows, I kind of got one thing only pre-prepped, and that is this. I got my oil on the boil. Hey, that rhymes. Um, I keep forgetting the camera's there and not there. I don't know why I set it up this way. I'm so used to looking this way. Alrighty, but anyways, I'll show you what I got going on here on the stove. Here, see a big old pan full of oil. It's a preheating and everything, and we're going to make ourselves some fry bread today. That's right. I figured, been in this depressed mood. See if I can't angle this up so y'all can seize me. Well, that ain't quite going to work out, but that's okay. We'll figure it out somehow. Yes, sir, Bob. All right. I'm going to see about turning my microphone and put my television. Let's talk about the next. Connected them both. Said several different ways. I'm going to turn this TV down real quick. Give me a quick second. All right, folks, I got the television or something, and big spoon. Just in case no one don't realize this, anybody ever seen the Beverly Hillbillies? Well, I got a Jethro spoon, but it got holes in the middle of it. Oh, there we go. That'd be good for folding in our flour. See, I don't like getting my hands all messed up, but at the same time, in this situation, you're gonna have to get your hands a little messy. Whoops, sorry everybody. I did not mean the droppy. Get you over here and see if you can see what I'm doing here. All right, here's our mixing bowl. Now there ain't much to do in this fry bread stuff. I mean, really, in my opinion, fry bread is kind of like it's kind of pizza, spaghetti, or lasagna anymore. There really ain't no right or wrong way to do it, just as long as you can get your dough made. That's all you really want to do is make your dough, is get your dough going. And I really ain't too sure when the actual whole recipe of fry bread was introduced and everything to the native or anything. But I do know, though, it had to do with very little rations, the origin of it, very little rations that was given to native people on the reservations, and so they made do with what they had, because that's what you do. Now, I ain't got no measuring cup, but I made fried bread plenty of times to where I do know the closeness to what I'm wanting to get at. Now, what you're really wanting is approximately, well, for the recipe I make, I am looking for about 2 cups of flour. I probably got about 2.5 in there from the looks of it. And I'm just going to fold my flour up for now because you might need it later. Now, what I'm also going to do is now you can use water or you can use things. It just depends what you want to make with your fry bread dough, or how much you want to make, or what type of fry bread dough you want to make. But me, I kind of like to do it different. And the way I'm making it, it's not traditional by no means, but one of the original recipes that I have, if I'm going to do it the way I. But since I got milk, I'm going to use about a cup of this to make our dough, and I'm going to shift that down. Here you can see right in there, right there, folks. There's our flour. And but I ain't got a pinch of salt. Matter of fact, I ain't got no salt. Just pour that in there. It ain't gonna look like much, and you're gonna think you're making a big mess, but all you're really focusing on is making a dough. I'm just gonna mix this around in there, and you might think that it's just gonna be messy and nothing is gonna work, and that it's gonna be one giant mess, and you get that at first. Anybody that knows how to make biscuits, homemade, can do this too. Real easy. See, it's starting to thicken up now. That's the messy part that I don't like, but it's okay. It's all part of the fun. Alrighty. Oh, I don't want to do that. Stick it right there. Now what you want to do is get a little flour on your hands. When you're doing this, get a little flour on your hands. I'm the only one using this flour. You get a little flour on your hands like that. Kind of, put it around your hands, and this is going to keep the dough from sticking to you, hopefully. Just kind of knead that in there a little bit, making your dough. I kind of got this a little bit too dry. Don't pour just a little bit, not a lot. You see, it's still a little bit too dry. It's been a while since I made this. Just so you know, this is a spur of the moment thing. There's times when I wish I did have some measuring cups, because now I'm going to have to wash my hands a little bit and apply a little bit more flour. there didn't fall down. Just find just a little bit of flour in there, not a lot. Enough to kind of help stiffen her back up again. We'll use one here this time. Because you make a dough, it ain't gonna make anything at all at first, but that's okay. Because out of chaos comes beauty. Now, that little bit is starting to work out just fine. As you can tell, starting to make a dough here. I'll put just a little bit more flour in there. See if I can't find some kind of spoon. Well, I ain't gotta keep picking it up. I can just spoon it in. Because you want the dough to be to the consistency to where it's not going to be sticking to your hands and be real pasty or anything. You want a good, dry, but yet not over dry dough, but firm. I guess they call it a firm dough in the cooking world. And pretty much you're making a bread dough, pretty much. Now, you might be asking, well, why do you add, how come you add any of the other stuff that you would know that would normally go into any type of bread, period? Well, you can add all that stuff. People do add that stuff in their fried bread mix. Me, on the other hand, I like to be different. I like to be off the grid, unnormal. As you can tell, we're getting a good dough consistency. It takes a while to get there, and you need it. Make sure that you get everything done right in it. And everything you're doing right now, what you want to do, one of the main important things you want to be sure you're doing is you want to be sure that you are, during this process, got your oil. I'm going to take Mama some of this. As you can see, we've got a pretty good, nice dough ball. That's the consistency that you want it in. A real nice consistency. And also to let you know, there are many recipes out there for this fried bread dough. There's more than one. It's a fun little thing that you can do and share. Something fun for kids to do with kids. Anyways, we got this wonderful, beautiful dough here. And I try to also make it as healthy as I can because I know fried bread really is not. Now, when you start to feel it getting kind of sticky to your hands, that means you're pretty much about done mixing her up. Now, you won't believe it, but a little ball this size, this is a bit of a big ball, but you can get a lot of pieces of fry bread out of this one thing. You could feed a family. You could have a big old get together just off of this size dough ball and have a party with. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a little bit of flour back in this pan because it's going to keep the outer part of the dough from being, too moist and keeping it from sticking to your hands because you don't want it to really stick to your hands. You want your hands to be about that cleaner. But you also don't want your dough to stiffen back up neither. But we got a good dough consistency. And don't worry about clumps in the dough or anything. It ain't gonna matter. Unless you're just a perfectionist, then hey, kudos to you. Alright. I can't believe I made a good dough. You know something else, folks? You can also turn this into pizza dough too. That's right, pizza dough. Or spoon biscuits. And also you can add seasoning to and make a kind of uh, kind of fry bread. Or you can make a bit of a sweeter fry bread by at the end adding just a little bit of sugar or even I found that nutmeg is pretty good to add with this. Now I'm going to put my flour back in. Well, first I'm going to wash my hands. Ow. And also, not only that, another reason why I'm making this fry bread because Mama kind of requested it, and so I'm making it for her. And I'm gonna enjoy me a nice cup of milk. Milk's good for you. There's actually some people out there kind of dopey saying, "Well, milk ain't actually good for you." I say they're full of it. But I'm gonna grab a baking pan. I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do next. Mind you, the entire time, from the time when before I turned on the recording, all the way up to now, my oil's been preheating. Workspace here. All right, baking pan, baking pan. You're gonna work those. You just need some average size baking pans, nothing fancy. I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do. Okay, what we're gonna do is just a little bitty pinch off of our dough. Just a little bitty pinch, not a big pinch. Or about that size right there. Is what we're gonna do. Just gonna pinch it out into a big old round piece, as brown as we can get it. You can probably go a little bit bigger than this. Now, I will tell you, the thinner and the flatter you get each round individual piece, the better off it's going to be. It'll get pretty big, especially with the milk. That's it's just using milk. I don't know what it is with the milk, but I notice when you just use milk, it all kind of comes out really well, puffs up nice and big, and sometimes you kind of fold her out. Really, you can make them make pieces bigger than this, but it's been a while since I'd done it, so I wasn't too sure of myself. See what happens if we get a bigger piece here. Yeah, there we go. Well, heck, you can even cut this big piece in half like this. Squeeze in the middle and work your way out. Just keep on a turning. They'll expand. Now this is also for a smaller recipe too. I didn't want to make a whole lot, but I wanted to make some. I'm taking some down to Mama in rehab, and you know how fried stuff is with people that's went through heart surgery and everything. I don't want her to have too much, but I know she ain't had hardly anything, so I'm gonna spoil her today when I go in to see her. And if you get little holes and tears, don't worry. That don't matter unless you're a perfectionist and because there ain't nothing really perfection about this. I mean, it's whatever you really want to make it. It's really good to get kids involved in on this. They'd have a ball. And knowing that, with a little bit of imagination, you can turn this simple little dough into just about anything you can imagine. And you really ain't got to worry about getting too much air out or nothing. And you ain't got to worry about lumps in the dough because it all comes out in the oil in the end in one form, shape, or another. And you'll see what I mean whenever I drop them in the oil. And what I mean by they'll swell up pretty big. And I know I probably should have oiled this pan up a little bit or floured it, but I'm stacking them in a way to where it would be easy to take them off one another. Good thing I'm doing this live. My camera would run up and even got this far. But this is real time, folks. No, I guess you could also make garlic fry bread for spaghetti and pasta and stuff. Doing this recipe, just come to think about it. Of course, I wonder how many other people are going to rewatch it and be like, I didn't know he knew anything about this stuff. Well, of course, I'm part native, you know. This here is like Native American soul food, you know. And also to those sort of kind of, do what flour and dough does whenever it sits for a while, it'll kind of sum back up. That's really the gluten in the flour causing it to do that. And I'm not doing nothing fancy. I'm just smashing it all out. Pretty much, the best way to look at this is your fingers is a tiny little rolling pin. That's just stretching the dough. Now, some people will be like, well, that's got to be gross, just frying that up like that. Actually, it's no more different than really making a homemade pastry. People that, back in the 18th century, that's pretty much how they made meat pies and everything else. And if you was a soldier, you even ate even more plainer stuff back in them days. See, it's not perfect. Your fried bread, piece of fried bread, don't gotta be perfect because the only one that's, and this is something really fun for kids. If you got kids at home and they're bored or something, this is something fun to get them into. Now you can also bake this too. It won't taste the same, but you can bake it because it's still bread dough, more or less. So for those of you that can't have anything fried whatsoever, there's the other alternative. Bake it just like bread, and then you'll have little odd shaped bread pieces. I wish I had one of those KitchenAids though. That way I wouldn't have to get my hands always messy when I do something like this. Cause I just like have my dough already made, and all I'd have to do is just do this. Now, salt does make it thicken quicker, and that's probably what took the longest on making the dough. If I would have added just a half a teaspoon of salt in the mix, it would have worked out great. We got a holy one. And also putting your flour in the pan too is if you feel like your hand like it's starting to stick to me right there, you just kind of douse your fingers into a little bit of that flour and bam, no worries necessary. And you can cheat too. Slightly give her a little tug. And nothing's perfect. Now, out of this dough ball, we have gotten one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 pieces. 7 pieces of fry bread. Ain't that something? And see, I'll show you. It's a recipe that can go a long way. Or if you're in between paydays and just looking for something that's going to last you for a little while, till payday comes along, it's a good recipe to have. It's always good to have a little flour on hand. Now, there's also an easier way, even much more easier way you can do this too. If you have a big flat surface, a rolling pin, you can make this dough, flatten her completely out, and then take cookie cutters, or circles or whatever, or squares, and do it that way, and it'll be easier and quicker. All right, now I'll show you something. Okay, this oil should be pretty good and ready. Got a lot of heat coming up off of it, but we're going to test her out. Here's how we're going to test her out. We're going to just take a tiny little smidgen of her dough, and we're going to drop it in the pan and see what happens. Well, apparently it's not completely ready yet, but the heat coming off of it, I thought it would be ready. So what I'm going to do is turn up the dial just a little bit, because you want your oil, otherwise you're going to just have a nasty mess. I forgot how long it takes for that to heat up. Forgive me, I'm a little thirsty today for some reason. Well, while that's heating up and we're waiting on her to heat up, we'll just continue making more little pieces. Can't wait to see the look on Mama's face though when she gets some of this. Mm. You know something else? It's a good time passer too. Boy, it gets real hot in here. I tell you what now. Look at that piece. See, when you're also pushing the dough out like this, you're also kneading it and getting the air out of it. I'm sorry everything's taking so long. I should have probably had some of this already prepped, but I wanted to share with you guys because I ain't got nothing fancy to edit videos with or anything else. What you see is what you get, and I figured, y'all deserve to see from the beginning to the very end. I'm pretty sure somebody who's like a fry bread critic is gonna be like, "Now that ain't real fry bread. That ain't how you make it." Well, I don't care. I makes it the way I makes it in the ways that I likes it. I had one person one time tell me that my fry bread tasted good to make a bologna cheese sandwich with one time. I couldn't believe that. Then I knew somebody else that took my fry bread and they used it for a hamburger bun. So, now you can also kind of like do like what they call hoe cakes, it's a 18 cent, but kind of just take a dry pan and just put either butter in it, just very little butter, just enough to keep something from sticking to a pan, and put them on there. Or you can do it dry, but you got to be careful and really flip her over. And there's many fry bread recipes out there. I've tried a few, and I tell you what, I ain't ate any that I didn't like. They mighty fine, mighty fine, mighty fine eating, good with chili. It's just the wrong time of year for chili, I think, or starting to be. I don't know though. I love me a mess of chili. Let's check on the oil here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you what, it would probably help if I turned on the right burner. I had the wrong burner on. For Pete's sakes, no wonder nothing was getting warm. Now, I'm laughing at myself. Oh, here this entire time thought I was going to have everything up to temperature and everything was going to be all groovy and right, just to find out I did not have on the right burner to get her heated up. Boy, I feel like an idiot. But that's okay. That's okay. That's all right. Everything's going to go all right. Sorry for the dead air and everything, but just squeezing out towards the tips. I'm so used to my stove down in Oak, Kentucky. I miss that stove. I miss Oak, Kentucky altogether. Kind of get it a little bit. This ain't such a long process, but it's just getting there. Check on our oil here. Hey, it looks like it's starting to do something. That's pretty cool. We just might be cooking with oil. It's on the boil. Boy, that just rhymed, didn't it?
It's pretty hot in here. It's that one back burner. Now, after I wash my hands here, we'll find out how much we got. And take my pan over here and put her in the sink. Put some water in it. Let's see, we got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Got 16 pieces of fry bread ready to go out of that one little piece. But, or that one ball of dough. But I could have got more out of that if I took my time. So, I'm just going to dive right into it because this video is like totally an hour now, and I didn't mean for it to go into being this out and see if we got our heat adjusted right. Here you go, folks. Moment of truth right here. Oh, yeah. Look at that. And what we're looking for is a golden brown. A golden brown. And then you flip her over. Oh, yeah. And see how I told you it puffs up? Flip her over again. And one more time. Or if I can get the tongs to cooperate. And there you have it, folks. That right there is fry bread. Got a nice golden consistency to it.
and also it will continue to cook on its own, sitting, chilling. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you liked this little fry bread tutorial, and thank you for bearing with me and joining me. I'm going to finish making the rest of this fry bread, and I'll catch y'all later. As always, to all the fans, to all the new fans, thank you for joining me and for giving a little bit of your time to share with me. And wherever you're at in this world, may you be blessed. Till next time.